Have you ever heard of something called the shame spiral? So imagine this, you're taking care of your elderly parent and you're getting ready to take your father to a doctor's appointment today. So you're rushing around, you're helping him to get dressed, you're helping to get breakfast, and you accidentally spill his coffee all over the table. And he lashes out with something like, "Oh my God, you can't do anything right. Why do you always screw everything up?" And in that moment, it's not just a comment he made, it's a trigger for you. And you're not in the kitchen anymore, you're back in your childhood. And you're hearing similar things to what you heard as a kid. And so you start running these thoughts like, "Oh, I can never do anything right. Maybe I'm not cut out for this." And so then you're driving to the appointment, your dad's sitting in the seat next to you and he's really quiet. And you just keep running these thoughts. "I'm not really good at this. I probably shouldn't be doing this. I can never do anything right. Everything I do screws up." And you keep finding things from your past to reinforce this idea that you're really not good enough. And then as you're sitting in the doctor's office waiting room and your dad's sitting there quietly again, and you just keep running these thoughts over and over, and you end up in a spiral of thinking. And then at the end of the day, you're exhausted, you're emotionally drained, and you feel like you've confirmed your worst fears about yourself, that you're just not worth it, everything you do, you screw up, and maybe you shouldn't be a caregiver because you can't do it right. That's a shame spiral. That's a mental program that we run automatically a lot of times, and then we end up finding beliefs and thoughts and feelings that reinforce it, and it ends up being this spiral where we keep going down and down and down, and it's really hard to get out of. That's what we're going to talk about today. And at the end of the video, we're going to talk about some strategies to break out of that spiral. I'm Tammy Provencal. I'm a physical therapist and a life coach for caregivers. I make videos like this because I feel like caregivers need more resources, especially caregivers of an aging parent where the relationship is often the most challenging part. When we decide to become a caregiver to our aging parent, it's usually for a combination of reasons, but two of the biggest reasons are we have a sense of duty, we owe it to them, and because we love them. But becoming their caregiver can bring up so many insecurities in us because those started as kids through our relationship with our parents. I've done other videos about our monkey mind. I feel like it's the source of so much of our unhappiness and our anxiety. Our monkey mind is our non-stop commentary that our brain runs, often very judgmental, judges us, it judges the people around us, it judges our circumstances, it makes us feel like we have to be perfect. And that inner commentary started when we were kids, through our interaction with our parents, how we saw them respond to stress and how they responded to us, how we interpreted what they said to us or how they treated us. So if we had a parent that was really critical of us, we could never do anything right, that voice becomes our internal voice. And as we become adults, we're not even conscious of it most of the time. We're just running this commentary in the background and feeling so insecure and unworthwhile in everything we do. But we don't need to blame our parents. They have their own monkey mind that's making them react and respond in certain ways. We can only control what we can control, and that's ourselves. So what can we do about a shame spiral? The very first thing is to acknowledge that we're in one, or that we tend to run one. So that allows us to interrupt it further at the beginning of the process. But here are 8 more strategies to think about. The first one is to recognize your feelings. So regardless of what they are, if it's shame, if it's guilt, if it's frustration, recognize them and accept them. Don't beat yourself up for having feelings. The second strategy is to understand the roots of our shame spiral. So understanding that a lot of it potentially came from our interaction with our parents, but don't blame them. They have their own monkey mind, and we also may have interpreted things very differently through our child's mind than we would as an adult. So we may have totally misinterpreted something they said or something they did or something we saw. The third strategy is to separate the past from the present. You're no longer that little kid that interpreted criticism and internalized it. You get to decide how to respond differently. The fourth strategy is to be kind to yourself. Treat yourself with the compassion that you wish you had as a child. That will start to change the internal script you run into a more supportive one. The fifth strategy is to get some help. Talking to a therapist or a support group or even a life coach can really help to get some of the internal stuff you're thinking and feeling out, which can be really helpful. The sixth strategy is to set boundaries. Setting boundaries with our parents can be really difficult, but really good for us because it validates our worth. We're worthwhile enough to set boundaries and shut down a conversation that isn't productive or doesn't feel good to us, and setting the boundary to our parent, telling them, if you talk to me like that, I'm going to leave the room. I'll come back and we'll try it again, but I'm going to keep doing that until you stop talking to me like that, can be really empowering for us. The seventh strategy is to forgive and let go, which is one of the hardest things we can do. But if we think about the fact that our parents have their own internal dialogue that must be really painful to live in, sometimes that can help. And forgiving isn't about them, it's about us. It's about freeing ourselves. It doesn't mean that what they did was okay. It doesn't mean that how they're talking to us is okay. It's about being able to forgive them so we can free up space in ourselves. And then the eighth strategy is to write your own story. You're not a kid anymore, you're an adult. You can make choices and you can choose how you respond and how you process the information that's happening to you now, not as a child, but as an adult. Caregiving for a parent is really hard, but it also gives us the opportunity to heal some of the stuff that might have been dragging us down in our lives for years. And so it can be a really good opportunity to address some of these things, like our internal monkey mind and the way we respond in stressful situations. Thanks for watching today's video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And in the comments section, let me know what you think.